Is higher mileage really the answer when it comes to preparing for a race? That's a question I often get on the site, and I've been asked over the years. And my best recommendation is to always think quality over quantity when it comes to preparing for a race, whether it's a 5K all the way to a marathon event. Maybe you're even up to the ultra marathon. Ultra marathon, obviously, that's going to be requiring a lot more endurance base. So higher mileage may be more beneficial in regards to that because it's not so much specific on um, anaerobic types of training, aerobic capacity types of training, like getting on the track and doing like real hard 200s and real hard 300s. But when it comes to success in preparing for races, and this is just my own experience, just sharing, you can take what interests you and leave the rest if you need to. But I've always felt that long slow running produces long slow runners, and obviously we all have different goals as athletes. So can you produce great results just running high mileage? Yes, you're still going to obviously be very, very strong endurance wise. Um, I've even had races over the years where all I was doing was just base mileage. I wasn't doing any types of speed training or tempo runs or doing hill repetitions, anything like that. And I ran reasonably well in some 10K to 10 mile races, just specifically doing mileage. But as it gets to a point where your focus is more on specific race times and hitting specific kilometer splits and mile splits in the race and being able to sustain that pace over a long period of time, especially in the longer events where it's really critical that you maintain the pace and you don't slow down, and your muscle functioning obviously doesn't shut down um, from not having done sufficient anaerobic training and aerobic capacity types of workouts in training prior to the start of your big race. Um, it's really important that you spend more of your weekly volume focused on training at, near, or very, very far below your goal race pace. Now, obviously, if you're doing, uh, you know, repeat 400s, repeat 600s, repeat 800s, things like that, that's going to be more towards your 5K to 10K race pace. You want to really focus on um, training far below your goal pace, especially if it's like a marathon. You're training for a marathon. Do your 400s, your shorter interval workouts, your aerobic capacity type workouts, closer to your 5K and 10K pace. That way, you really make that your goal race pace for like the half marathon, 10 mile, half marathon, marathon feel much more efficient. You'll be much more confident because you've trained at speeds that you obviously are not going to be able to hold for 10K to marathon distances, but you've trained at that mile intensity, the 2 mile intensity, 5K race intensity. Um, but when it comes to preparing for your races, just like I said, keep your focus on quality over quantity. Obviously, if too low of a percentage of your weekly volume is spent running, say, 2 minutes slower than the pace that you're trying to race at for your race, it's going to obviously make you very, very strong endurance wise, uh, but you're not going to be preparing yourself in terms of building your stamina and building your lactate tolerance, which is very, very critical in terms of sustaining pace over long periods of time. It's not that athletes are not capable of racing well, or we all come up with excuses of why we didn't meet our goal on race day. Maybe it was we feel like we're getting too old, or our peak, we're past our peak. When a lot of cases, not always, but a lot of the times, it is just simply we've run too many miles for too long of a period at too slow of a pace. Now, hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, I don't want to say that running easy and running high mileage isn't beneficial. That's not where I'm saying it, because it is very, very beneficial. It will make you very strong. It will build your endurance. You'll have the confidence that you've put in that those big amounts of volume over long periods of time. But when it comes to racing, okay, running a race and racing a race, are two vastly different animals. So if your focus is on right now getting ready for a race and you're trying to hit a specific time, keep that quality versus quantity mindset. It's very, very important to look at your weekly schedule. Look at how you're setting up your training, what you're doing. Is like 90% of your weekly volume spent running a minute to 2 minutes slower than your goal race pace. If that's the case, you need to increase the percentage of your weekly volume that you're spending below race pace. That is the key ingredient for really making those big drops in performances. That's how I dropped my marathon from 2:43:36 to 2 hours 19 minutes 35 seconds. Lowered my half from an hour and 10 minutes and 29 seconds to an hour and 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Dropped my 10-mile time from 55 minutes and 30 seconds to 50 minutes and 54 seconds. So all of that was due to getting away from the high mileage mindset. I got up to 142 miles a week was my highest week, and I ran like crap when I got up that high. Yes, I had to experience that. I had to see for myself. I had, years ago, this was years ago, but I had Lisa Rainsberger, who coached me for 3 years. She won the Boston Marathon in 1985. And she would say, I had this mindset like, I got to do more miles. That's how I got to get under 2 hours and 19 minutes. My PR at the time was 2 hours, 19 minutes, 35, which it still is. But in 2012, and I believe now even in 2020, leading into the 2020 Olympic trials, athletes, males, I have to believe, have to run 2 hours and 19 flat or faster. So it hasn't changed, but at that time, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get under 2 hours and 19 minutes. I thought, what is 35 seconds? I just need to run more mileage. Well, that wasn't the answer. And it took me over a decade, and I never improved on 2:19:35. But as you know, as an athlete, the faster you run, the harder it is for you to duplicate those flow efforts, those peak efforts where everything went right. And then on that day, everything did go right for me. So just want to encourage you to really keep, like I said, keep your focus on, obviously, putting in the miles, but working smarter. Use leverage. Focus on quality over quantity. Don't get caught up in the, I have to run high mileage to succeed at my event. That is not the case. You got some of the world's best runners, some of them that are running like anywhere from like 50 miles a week to 90 miles a week, and for a lot of elite athletes, they think that's low volume, and really it isn't. It's looking at what percentage of your weekly volume are you preparing at or far below your goal race pace, and that's really going to make you very, very efficient when it comes to your preparation, obviously, but when it comes to the point when it's time for you to race and you've tapered down, you've used that 10-day taper that I teach in all the courses that are on RunDreamAchieve.com. I believe in a 10-day taper. I believe that, again, every athlete is different. Some athletes preparing for races like to start peaking 3 weeks out. I've tried that over the years. It always made me feel lethargic and fatigued. So I always taper 10 days out from the event. I've always found that a 10-day taper produces the greatest results. It's what I used when I broke 2:20 for the marathon, and when I broke an hour and 7 minutes and 10 seconds for the half marathon. I was always focused on a 10-day taper, and then keeping the volume moderately high all the way up to about 2 weeks out, and continuing to work on intensity, and then dropping significantly the last 2 weeks, and especially the last 10 days prior to your big event. So that's what I got for you today. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, feel free to click the subscribe button and click the bell icon. That'll give you a notification on when I make a new video. And if you haven't yet, definitely check out RunDreamAchieve.com. Check out our courses. I'm continuing to work to develop more content that's going to provide value to you and to athletes around the world, regardless if you're a beginner or an advanced level athlete. So I'll talk to you next time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.